Yeah, so true. I don't think I've ever seen macro out of Zerg like that. I mean, you can tell that this guy is a taught Zerg. It was just absolutely impressive. And it looks like the next game will be played on Zodiac. Very important game, of course. NoNy with another chance to knock GOsia out and go on to the top four. But GOsia showing that great macro style, and Zodiac, of course, a perfect map for macro from Zerg. We saw some impressive play by Dynot there with his macro. So definitely GOsia's going to want to do the same here. You know, he's going to want to get huge macro going against NoNy and just live long enough to have all his upgrades kick in, plus his hive tech.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see, given the islands on this map, if NoNy decides to open up with a different build, especially coming off a loss, opening with that same build. I mean, he's done the same thing 3 times in a row. He's opened up with a few Corsairs and then a single Dark Templar and then just High Templar and Psionic Storm, moving out with Dragoons. That kind of opens him up to GOsia taking the islands from him. We'll have to see if NoNy decides to has something else prepared on Zodiac, or if he feels like his build is strong enough that it can overcome the disadvantages. But of course, Zodiac, a great map for a macro Zerg player. Every gas has every expansion has gas, and there are tons of expansions on this map. And of course, the islands are Zerg territory, so all those things are going to come together. Plus the momentum from the last game to help GOsia maybe tie up the series and take it to a 5th game.
You know, that's very true. If NoNy does that same build again, though, I think he's going to be in trouble. We're going to have to see some sort of shuttle play on this map out of NoNy. Or, you know, GOsia's style along with the hill expands that are his thirds. You know, it may just be too much for NoNy on this map. So anyways, let's go. Hit it, Hotbid.
It's showtime.
And here we go. This is the Razer TSL round of 8, day 2. This is the last matchup. We have NoNy versus GOsia. NoNy leading 2-1. GOsia with a very impressive game 3 there, taking off of NoNy on Wuthering Heights. And here we are. We are on Zodiac, a pretty good Zerg map, a pretty good macro map. So this is going to be for sure an exciting game. Lots of Psystorms against lots of GOsia's units, most likely. And we have NoNy starting over at the 3 o'clock base and GOsia over at 9 o'clock. So good positions for the Zerg player. Is he staging a comeback? I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, indeed, these positions are incredible. We saw the amount of units that Dynot was able to get out against JF. It was just basically a swarm of Zerg units until JF had enough Storm to deal with that. Of course, GOsia shows that he does like to favor that style, but he does get his hive a little faster. So that will help him if he does decide to play that style of play. We see NoNy has started his pylon, now sending his probe towards the 6 o'clock base. Of course, we know he's not there. GOsia sending his overlord to 12 o'clock. It'll just be interesting to see if GOsia has enough time to get his drone down to his natural in order to get the 12 hatchery up, or if NoNy's probe is going to stroll over there to block it in time.
Yes, it seems like a little bit of deja vu here. We are going to have that 12 hatch down at the natural for sure. Hopefully, NoNy's probe won't block it, but you know, I think it may in fact get there in time. Oh, look at this! He actually went for a 12 pool. So you know, I'm a little bit confused as to why he did that. And a gas, a 12 pool gas. You know, that's an odd build by GOsia here. Maybe he's planning for some sort of cheesy build here. You know, maybe some sort of a speedling run by or something like that. It's a very interesting strategy here by him.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what this is. 12 pool speed, I don't even think that's a build, but I mean, given the builds we've seen today that have worked, I mean, double Hydralisk Den, slow speedy ranged Hydralisk drop, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. We see GOsia sneaking a drone out, moving towards his natural. That's going to get a hatchery up, just sneaking around that that scouting probe. NoNy has his forge up and his nexus making. Gonna throw down a cannon here now that he's seen the pool. And GOsia is still mining gas with... he's pulling it now, so clearly going for Zergling speed. And he is making 6 Zerglings. Now he's realized he hasn't mined enough gas, going back to finish that off. And we're gonna see Zergling speed research now.
And NoNy getting ready for it right away. He does make the forge before Nexus because of late scouting of GOsia's base, but he makes the Nexus before the cannons, so he definitely does know his timings on this map. And the Zerglings anyways attacking towards the probe, so really no danger at all to NoNy. And you know, I'm really interested to see NoNy's next move here. Is he going to go for that same strategy that has worked so well for him, or are we finally going to see some shuttle play out of him? I'm not too sure. You know, one thing to note, GOsia is pumping a good amount of Zerglings here. It looks like he has maybe 10 Zerglings so far. So NoNy is probably going to have to add a couple more cannons.
Yeah, the threat of the speedy Zergling run-by is paramount, especially after we've all seen Mondragon's replays from the Razer TSL ladder stage. And we can see NoNy has decided to respond to it by putting a 3rd cannon just by his natural mineral line, just to help defend by run-bys. And he's got 3 probes pulled to help defend against the run-by once again. And still no 3rd base for GOsia. Drone heading towards the 6 o'clock inside base. Zergling streaming towards the natural. We're going to have to see if they try to run by. It'll pretty much be a disaster. NoNy has 5 probes pulled. And they'll really just block those Zerglings up. So Zergling speed really blocked nicely here by NoNy. Given that he did have to make the extra cannon and had to keep his probes off minerals, I think it's going to end up pretty much even. And from this point forward, we're going to see pretty standard play. But of course, this is GOsia, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, absolutely. We see GOsia taking his 3rd base. It's going to be the 2nd natural of 6 o'clock. Very close base for him to defend, so not too odd a choice right there. And GOsia, of course, he has pulled over his Overlord to kind of watch what that choke looks like for NoNy, so he's not going to waste those speedlings. Very nice, smart move by him there. Meanwhile, NoNy getting double gas, so definitely we're going to see a Stargate going up. And whether he goes Robo or, you know, tries to go for the quick high Templars, that's going to be really interesting, and that's going to dictate the flow of the game.
We see actually GOsia has made a layer off 3 hatcheries and has an extractor at his natural. So will this be a throwback to the Othello game where Mutalisks were basically everything? I mean, this is a good map to do it on, given that every base has gas. There's tons of expansions for Zerg to take. We could see some sort of Mutalisk play. Spire going down now, so it is going to be Mutalisk. But we're going to have to see if GOsia has decided he doesn't want to make all-ins or all-in Mutalisk. He wants to switch over to something in the mid game, or will he say, I know that Mutalisk build is strong, I'm going to try it again. Meanwhile, we have a Stargate out for NoNy, and Citadel of Adun coming in, so once that finishes, of course, Templar Archive is going to be coming in. 2nd Gateway warped in now, and the Forge is not spinning, so just saving up that gas to get as many High Templar as possible. And we see that Spire is about half done, so this Corsair should come out in time to let NoNy know that Mutalisks are on their way.
So, yeah, also the Overlord scouting exactly what NoNy's doing, and GOsia has to be ready for this. NoNy has been doing it over and over and over to everyone, and, you know, it's an odd map to choose to do it on, but NoNy feels confident in his build for sure. You know, I guess he's going to be looking for a kill before any sort of island play comes into play, or what. You know, I'm not too sure exactly why he's not ever switching up his strategies. He's just, I guess he's so confident with it. But this Spire almost done now, and you know, if you remember back to the Othello game when he went for that very fast Spire, the 2 Zealots went in, they killed about what was it, 6 drones, and they scouted the Spire. This time there are no such things, although the Corsair does scout that Spire right away, and the Spire is getting the +1 carapace. GOsia does not have to replace those drones, so he's in a much better position now than he was on Othello, and the Othello game, as you remember, was pretty close, so there's really no telling how well he can do this game with this Muta build.
And the Scourge now chasing this Corsair at 6 o'clock. It looks like the Corsair pulled a nice juke there. It's moving back towards the main. It's going to hide by the cannons. Scourge going to have to be recalled, and they are. We can see GOsia is taking the top left base, putting a hatchery there. So again, trying to get 4 geysers up very quickly. And he's actually got an evolution chamber. That's a little strange. I guess he's worried about Corsairs and Dark Templar, maybe thinking about putting up a spore colony if necessary. There's no research in that. Just spoke too soon. There comes Carapace. So it looks like he may think about following up either with Zerglings or into Lurkerling, but definitely thinking about some sort of follow-up other than Mass Mutas, given that he is researching Carapace so quickly. And we can see NoNy is not thinking about countering this with too many Corsairs, as he isn't getting the +1 out of the cybernetic score. Although he is still making Corsairs, he's probably going to stop after a while, or else he would be researching +1 for that air attack.
And you know, it's really interesting to see how they're countering each other. I mean, NoNy, of course, probably never played against this crazy Mass Muta style, so he learned better how to counter it this game. The last one was a little bit closer. He made too many Dragoons that weren't as good against those upgraded Mutas. And this game, you know, he's making a lot more Corsairs. He's already made an Archon out of his first 2 High Templars, so he's countering it a little bit more. But GOsia, on the other hand, as you said, he's preparing for some sort of switch. He is getting that +1 Carapace, so you know, while NoNy is doing better against the Mutas, GOsia is getting ready for a switch. So this is really an interesting dynamic we have here.
We see the robotics is coming up for NoNy now. Maybe he'll think about getting a shuttle and taking the island. Of course, that does not seem like a strong play against the mass Mutas of GOsia. GOsia now looking to take the 12 o'clock main as well. And it looks like NoNy is ready to move out. He's got only a single Archon and a single High Templar. Psionic Storm researched. Actually, it is not research. It's researching right now. He's going to rely heavily on these Corsairs. There are 6 Corsairs and a single Archon. So he's moving out. Looks like GOsia has a few Mutalisks in the middle of the map, just posturing around. We're going to have to see where NoNy decides to attack. Looks like he's aimed at 6 o'clock now. No, he's just resting, waiting for this Zealot to join him. And it looks like he is trying to take the 12 o'clock inside base. GOsia may have seen that with an Overlord. There's an Overlord moving right by it. Don't know if he saw that, but more pressing issues for GOsia is NoNy ramming into his natural. 6 Corsairs, Scourge out now, taking out a first Corsair. Those Mutalisks are going to have to get something done against this Archon. The Archon is just cutting him up. Archon gets taken out. Mutalisks now have free reign, but the Zealots are cutting up the drones. GOsia defends nicely, and NoNy decides he's just going to run into the main. GOsia trying to defend his natural first. About 6 Zealots moving into the main. They're going to be able to cut up those drones. The drones run away nicely, and it looks like GOsia successfully defends, and he has secured, I want to say, 5 geysers. So NoNy is going to have some trouble fighting 5 gas with 2 in my eyes.
But NoNy, very smart right there, takes down that Spire. GOsia's +1 armor rush really paid off against that mass Corsair. NoNy, of course, did not get the +1 Corsair attack, so that splash damage and the regular damage from the Corsair just really was dampened, and those Mutas are just cleaning up now, but the Spire is gone. And you know, is he going to tech switch now, or just he is laying down another Spire because he does have that 5 gas. He definitely has the tempo advantage right now. NoNy's going to have to be on the defensive. His Corsairs are not doing that well against these +1 Carapace Mutas, and we see that he has put a lot of cannons in his main. It looks like he has about 5 right now, and a couple Corsairs just hovering over that Nexus. He knows that GOsia's going to want to get in there and wreak some havoc, and therefore he's bringing down this Archon. That's very smart. If he didn't, maybe those cannons would go out really quick. But GOsia, he's just flying all over with these Mutas. And, you know, I gotta say, GOsia is definitely in the lead here. Look at these supplies. He's over 100, while NoNy's sitting at 86 or so. So GOsia just taking another base, taking that 12 o'clock base, and GOsia is going to get really big, really fast. A lot of gas, a lot of hatcheries. He's adding another Evo in his base while getting melee attack. So definitely we're going to see some tech switches later on in the game. And now GOsia attacking the gateways here in NoNy's base. This is going to be really annoying to NoNy. And NoNy coming up with a couple Corsairs. One falls instantly. Nice side storm on the Mutas. The Archon there to try to clean them up, but they smartly run away. Very nice side storm there by NoNy.
Yeah, NoNy is looking gas starved at this point. He only has 100 gas. Meanwhile, he has 1,700 minerals only off 2 bases. So again, it's really hard to fight Zerg Air without gas. Of course, you need Archons, Corsairs, High Templar, and GOsia just has free reign of the map. He's expanding at will, and I really like this build because he threatens to move into the main, and that keeps NoNy defensive. Meanwhile, he overexpands. If NoNy actually attacked, GOsia would probably not be able to defend it, but of course, just the threatening of the Mutalisk counter is keeping NoNy in his main. But now NoNy has 3 Archons and 3 High Templar, looking to move out. Looks like he wants to take the 3 o'clock inside base first. He's got a probe in his army moving towards there, and GOsia just with a ton of Mutalisk. He's actually got a ton of Scourge as well, and just tons of units at his home. He'll have to bring those around. He's now flying in trying to pick up the Zealots. Psystorm goes off on a group of Mutas. NoNy still has quite a few storms. Another Psystorm goes off. Wow! So all those Mutas going down, and there's only about 12 left for GOsia, and he's got another good group at his natural, but will he be able to defend his 6 o'clock inside natural? NoNy is moving in with 3 Archons and a bunch of Zealots. They're going to take that Sunken Colony down instantly. Meanwhile, the Archon's back. The Psystorm goes off on those Mutalisks again, and they are just taking tons of damage. Now Mutalisks and Zerglings trying to come back, picking off that Archon. The Archon Splash is just cutting up these Mutalisks. Wow! This is ridiculous. It looks like that base is going to fall. GOsia forced to drop his drones back to the natural.
Oh my, this is wild. These Mutas are just getting shredded. GOsia went from a huge lead to a very hard position. Look at this, the Archon just peeling away Mutas. 6 kills on this Archon, 7 kills on this Archon, 8 kills before it finally goes down. Only 4 Mutas left in that pack, but he does get NoNy to cancel that base over there. And now NoNy hitting the natural of GOsia, but plenty of Mutas there, but 3 Archons. These Archons are just killing these Mutas with their splash. A High Templar comes in, has enough for a storm. Will he storm? These Mutas are surrounded. Oh, a nice storm. It kills about 3 Mutas. But now no Archons left. These Mutas are just going to take pot shots at the Zealots while they try to kill drones. And what is NoNy going to do with these units? They are not going to live too much longer here. A lot of Mutas coming in to clean them up. It looks like he's going to suicide on this tech building in, this Spire. Spire once again researching the +1 attack, which was ended the first time it got killed. And it looks like once again, it barely didn't finish. It was like 90%. That was very nice move by NoNy there, keeping that upgrade out of the hands of GOsia. And GOsia right now is Hive, almost done. And during all this, NoNy is setting up the 12 inside natural. Plenty of cannons, an Archon, a few Zealots up there. Meanwhile, GOsia, he has 12. He has the 12 natural. He lost that 6 o'clock inside natural, but he has his natural and his main. So GOsia, he still has a pretty good economy, but you know his units overall are not looking that good against this heavy Archon army of NoNy.
And of course, without having a Spire, he has basically nothing to spend his resources on. He's just making Zerglings and trying to harass with these Mutas at 12 o'clock, just picking off units left and right. They're picking off Zealots, and Archon is missing, so I imagine I missed that getting picked off. But a ton of cannons there should defend that for NoNy. Of course, GOsia holding the inside of 12. He can move up with Lurkers, and he can move up with Sunken Colonies and hit the minerals, the mining probes from inside. So that's unfortunate that NoNy took a base that GOsia already controlled from the inside. Looks like NoNy's trying to run a Zealot in for whatever reason to 12. That's going to get taken out. And now a High Templar gets picked off by Mutalisk. Wow, these Mutalisks are just running around. They're worth their weight in gold, just picking off High Templars, Archons. Looks like NoNy says he's had enough. He's got +2 against GOsia's +2 carapace, actually. Looks like he wants to attack top left. Tons of Sunken Colonies there. GOsia learned his lesson from the Othello game, and looks like nothing's going to happen there. GOsia clumps up against an Archon at NoNy's second natural and taking a ton of damage, flying into a cannon. Looks like NoNy decides it's not the right time to break, backs off, draws the Zerglings in, and then finishes them off. Really nice play by NoNy. We're going to have to see if he decides to move in here, or if he's going to play defensively. He is just skewering these Zerglings very nicely.
Yeah, NoNy's army is just the perfect unit combination. He is starting to get really, really cost-effective against GOsia, and GOsia's huge economy is just not going to hold him for much longer here. NoNy's attacks are killing so many units. There's no Mutas left for GOsia, and he has invested just so much money into them. Basically, he just delayed NoNy. NoNy now, he does have that third base, very few probes at it, finally sending some probes down now. And NoNy, this this huge army of Archon Zealot, and he's just going into the natural of GOsia here. GOsia, not very much there. He's got a couple Sunkens and more morphing, and just Zerglings popping out. None of his units are very good against Archons. You know, he has to do some sort of tech switch pretty quickly here because NoNy is just putting him up against the wall. Archon's just slaughtering the Zerglings. NoNy is just getting so cost effective.
GOsia actually surprisingly lived that attack. I thought he was going to die there, but of course the Sunken Colony's dealing explosive damage against the shields of the Archons. Really nice. Spire is back in. It's morphing to a Greater Spire. I would have thought after losing that Spire it would have been a nice time to switch over to Ultralisk, but it looks like GOsia decides he wants Guardians. NoNy looks like he's posturing up, just checking 6 o'clock's inside base. Of course there's nothing there, and he's also trying to take the 3 o'clock inside base. So NoNy, with map control, looking to move in on the natural again. Looks like he's going to rush in, target this morphing Sunken Colony. Of course the shield's depleted on many of these Archons. He's now rushing in the Zealots, doing a nice job, taking whatever hits they can. A few Mutalisks, Storm goes off on those few Zerglings. Those Archons are just dealing huge amounts of damage. Only a single Sunken Colony left, and tons of shields left on these Archons. This is going to be trouble for GOsia. He's now, he's going to lose this base, and NoNy looks like he's going to move in, possibly take out the main of GOsia. Of course, that's not too much of a worry for him, since his Greater Spire is at 12 o'clock. He's morphing a ton of Guardians at 12 o'clock. But I don't know. I don't know if NoNy's going to be able to live the Guardians. He has a lot of Archons, but not too many High Templar, and we don't see many Corsairs.
You know, with no Corsairs and not that many High Templars, it's going to be hard to stop these Guardians. They're going to be behind this Expo. They're going to pick stuff up very easily. Of course, Archons, their range is not going to be long enough to deal with those without killing the natural and getting up there. So this is a very nice tech switch by GOsia, despite losing his main. And here he goes. NoNy hitting the main of GOsia with almost nothing left there anyways. And this NoNy's mining base is just being absolutely destroyed by these Guardians. Their range just pummeling the cannons, making the probes run away. It looks like NoNy is not going to be mining quite soon here, but NoNy is... Oh, he does have a Nexus. It is the inside natural of 3 o'clock, but some Zerglings running in there. They look like they want to harass a little bit. The probes just getting in. And if GOsia can take that out, he's still going to be in a very good position despite losing most of his bases here. And the Guardians just picking away. He's has them spread out pretty well, so only one storm hits each one of them, and he's got to do very well with these because his supply is getting quite low. NoNy's, of course, is up near 120, while GOsia's is about 75, so he's got to play a kind of a defensive turtley game and just abuse this Expo up here of NoNy's.
We see NoNy is actually switching over to Corsairs now to deal with these Guardians, and he's actually warping in a second Stargate at his main, and he will have that 3 o'clock inside gas just to help him supplement this army. Looks like 12 o'clock is going to go down, but I mean, GOsia is only mining from 2 bases, and he basically has lost map control, so I don't really know if he'll be able to get it done. Once he cleans up these cannons, we'll have to see where he moves next. But by that time, NoNy is going to have quite a few Corsairs. We'll have to see Zerglings rushing in now to 3 o'clock. Only a single cannon there. Storm goes off, killing a ton of Zerglings, and that shuts that down almost instantly.
You know, despite NoNy going 2 Stargate Corsairs now, his lack of upgrading on the Corsairs throughout the game is going to come into play because these Guardians, they already start with 2 armor, plus they have the +1 carapace. So GOsia, especially if he makes a few Devourers, is not going to have that big of a problem against any Corsair armies that NoNy brings up. So this tech route is a very strong one right now for GOsia, and he's also starting Defilers. He has a Defiler mound at his new main of 12 o'clock, pumping out a bunch of Zerglings, already 3 carapace and +2 melee attack. So you know, this is really anyone's game.
We've got a couple Guardians morphing here at the bottom right by the island. He's trying to break the main of NoNy. Unfortunately for him, for GOsia, he doesn't know about the 2 Corsairs, or 2 Stargates pumping Corsairs. So that's going to be unfortunate. Those Guardians are going to go down almost instantly. I don't know if there's any Devourers mixed in there. Yeah, there are a few Devourers. 2 Devourers finish, but those are going to get taken down almost instantly by the splash damage of the Corsairs. And now, I mean, GOsia looks to be in a very difficult position. He's trying to take the 9 o'clock inside natural. He's trying to deal some damage with these Guardians, just doing whatever he can to the 3 o'clock inside natural, but just nothing doing there. The Corsairs are going to take that down. NoNy dropping a probe on that island. now that he has air control, actually, surprisingly, against a greater Spire Zerg, he's going to take that island and just compound his advantage. And GOsia, I mean, what can he do? He does have a Defiler Mound, but NoNy is just camping in the middle of the map with 7 Archons. Looks to be in a very strong position.
He is, and his mineral's just so low that he is mostly making Archons. He still has a decent amount of gas. You know, he's mining gas out of 3 geysers, although 2 are depleted. And GOsia is just relentless on these expansions. There's so few probes left, and NoNy just transferring a whole bunch down. But GOsia still has a lot of gas himself, so he could definitely go for a lot of tech units such as Guardians. We see a lot of Guardians in the 12 o'clock natural. So GOsia, he still has a lot of high tech here, and if he's very careful with the way he controls his army against these Psystorms and Archons, he may still have a chance to stay alive for a little bit here. But I mean, NoNy, he's starting to get big again. Look at this Archon army outside the 12 o'clock natural. He's got like a lot of Archons, and basically we're going to see GOsia relying upon these sunken colonies quite a bit. And the Corsairs just flying in. They cleaned out what GOsia had left of air up here. So NoNy just charging in now. A Dark Swarm going up. Dark Swarm quite good against Archons. They can only do splash under it. But the Psystorm's going off. Not enough Zerglings, it looks like. It looks like NoNy is going to break GOsia here and take the match. He is up 2-1, so this would be the final game if he wins here. And yes, it looks like he will be winning. The natural falls right down. GOsia down to about 60 supply, falling and falling. His units just being absolutely killed by this huge Archon horde. NoNy up about 100. He has nothing mining though, so if GOsia could kill this, it would be really huge. But I mean, that is too many Archons. More cracklings coming in from the side. Storms going off though, and GG. NoNy wins and advances to the top 4 over GOsia 3-1.
Wow, right at the end, NoNy was not even mining, so I mean, if GOsia could have found some magical way to defend that last army, won the match, almost an elimination race we saw there. So what a wild game, what a great series. I think both of those series were really strong. Both of the Protoss players advancing over Zerg, just showing how strong they are. Really great series there.
All right, and to end off this day, what we're going to do is Rage is actually going to give an interview. So Rage, take it.
I was not aware of that I was going to be the person interviewing, but anyway, NoNy, you took the match in 4 games, but I wouldn't say they were easy games.
Yep, I agree. They were not easy.
All right, and NoNy, I got to ask you, Wuthering Heights, I mean, you had to feel confident going in there. You're already up 2-0. You know, I'm sure that you were thinking you were going to take 3-0 because you are just so good on that map against Ro8 in the round of 16. So tell me, what did you think of GOsia's play there? Did you make any huge mistakes, or was he just a pro gamer?
A little bit of both, I think. I think he came out with some really excellent macro once I gave him a chance to do it. But I think if you watch my game versus Ro8, I like to get in a really strong timing attack, like right in the mid game. And what happened is when I did it versus Ro8, I didn't get Stargate or Corsairs, and so that kind of expedited when I did that attack. And I got the Stargate and Corsair against GOsia. And then also, I forgot to build my robotics. Like, I meant to build it, and I didn't build it. And so he had lurkers when I wanted to attack, but I didn't have observers, so I had to hold back. And I think by the time I finally got some offense going with observers and everything, it had given him just enough time for his macro to kick in and to defend what I had to attack with.
Now, in Game 4 on Zodiac, I gotta ask you, you did the same build. You seem addicted to this build. I mean, I saw a few changes from game to game, but you love Dragoons and High Templars. And on a map like Zodiac, we try to stress how awesome these islands are and, you know, just how good shuttle play is on the map. So, what made you decide to just go with the same strategy over and over as opposed to maybe switching up and going for some sort of Reaver build?
Well, I like to adapt to the maps, but I also like to continue to do the same strategy over and over until it loses. And so if it's a map that I think I can do the same strategy on, then and I haven't lost with that strategy yet, then I'll go ahead and do it. And although I did lose on Wuthering with that strategy, I felt it was from a mistake that I could remedy. So I wanted to go ahead and do that strategy again. And if GOsia had built up some confidence against it, then I was going to surprise him by fixing the mistakes that allowed him to win. But he really took control of the pace of the game and the game plan by going Muta. That's really something I have to respond to, and it lets him take control.
All right, cool. I got to bring it up. Your next round opponent is Draco, the pro gamer. I know that you are known for being a mechanical player, very good macro and keeping everything under control. And PvP, of course, a match where that's good. And Draco, being in Korea as a pro gamer, he of course has excellent game mechanics, as we saw, especially against White Rock, constantly getting those probes out and such. So, how do you feel about your matchup against Draco?
I'm pretty confident. I'm lucky because I get to see 5 PvP games that he just played against White Raw, and looking at those games, I'm sitting there watching and I'm thinking, I can beat Draco. I'm looking at the builds he's doing, I'm looking how well he's playing, and I'm thinking, I've played games where I can 3-0 Draco. So I'm going in with a lot of confidence, but he's definitely a good player. There's no doubt in that, and everyone's the polls for who's going to win the TSL, Draco's leading them on GG.net and TL.net. So obviously, a lot of people think he's a great player, and I agree with that. So I'll be cautious. I'm not overly confident.
All right, well, good luck with that. And the other side of the brackets is, of course, Brat, who beat you in the group stage, the round of 32, I believe it was, to win that group and give you second against your teammate, JF, the amazing Protoss player. What do you think about that match? Who do you think is going to win it?
Oh, that's going to be an amazing match, and I've taken the stance that every single one of these matches is impossible to predict, so you're not going to get a prediction out of me about who I think is going to win, but I'm really eager to see that match, especially if Brad OK advances in front of JF, then those games will give me some more information should I have to face Brad OK in the final. So I'm really curious to see some more of his TVP, and I'm really curious to see if the monster JF can take down this upstart.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Well, definitely good work beating GOsia. Really great games, and thank you for coming on and talking to us, and best of luck to you in the future.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, and it looks like that is it for our TSL Round of 8 Day 2. We have our top 4. It looks like it will be played next week, same time, same place. We're going to have Brat against JF and also NoNy against Draco. So those are 2 amazing matches. Make sure you all tune in for those. And thanks to all the staff and, of course, Razer. Without Razer, we would not have this awesome Star League. So thank you to everyone, and bye.